I won 150 games in a row with cheats and didn't get banned. In general, in 4 years of playing with cheats, I only lost a couple of accounts. The funniest thing is that when I played without cheats, I got about 20 bans for smurfing, but with cheats, this problem is no longer there. In this video, I will tell you how cheats work, what exactly you can get banned for, what will definitely get you banned, how to avoid that ban, and why Valve doesn't want to fight cheaters. After all, there is a way to rid Dota of cheaters once and for all, but I will talk about it at the end. Some might wonder why, if there is a way, Valve hasn't used it yet. The first and main reason is that they don't care about the game, and you can't even imagine how much. A fairly large number of Dota players believe that you can only play with cheats in Turbo or Unranked, but if you enter Ranked, you'll get banned immediately. Well, the main thing is to believe. Of course, we won't try to persuade them otherwise, but what is the reality? In reality, everything is very good for cheaters and bad for honest players. I'm playing with the best Dota cheat, Umbrella. In the description, there is a referral link that gives you a 10-day trial period upon registration, so you can test everything out, and if you don't like it, delete it and don't buy anything. To start with, it's worth explaining how cheats work. There are several types of scripts. The first type is scripts that are injected into the game, but leave no traces, so it's impossible to detect them. These include automatic armlet toggling, hero combos that activate skills and items in the correct sequence with the press of a single button, and a dodger that avoids any skill in Dota and all that. The second type consists of scripts that interact with game files and leave traces on Valve servers. Most often, these are functions that provide information. For example, a jungle map hack that shows opponents when they are farming in the jungle, or Roshan info that shows when Roshan is being attacked and his exact HP count. Such functions have a yellow triangle next to them, indicating that their use is unsafe. To enable them, you need to turn off safe mode in the cheat settings. And the third type of scripts is the really wild exploits that break Dota and are usually quickly fixed. These include things like crashers, the ability to endlessly throw alchemists' concoctions, and Tiny's trees. By the way, I recorded a video about this exploit ages ago and was against cheats. Isn't that funny? The latest really intense thing is that the developers of Umbrella made an unlocker for the Fallen Crown. It allowed users to go to the exchange and trade 2 scraps for 3. And then, with this scrap, you could buy any tokens, including premium ones. If you're not familiar with the Fallen Crown, without the unlocker, in the exchange, you can trade 2 regular tokens for 3 scrap, and then for 6 scrap, you can buy 1 regular token. Overall, it's very disadvantageous, but with Umbrella, it's really good. The developers then made a script that would log into an account, duplicate the required amount of scrap in 2 minutes, buy all the tokens, and complete the Axe of the Fallen Crown. Initially, the plan was to create many such accounts and then sell either their items or the accounts themselves. Initially, there were people who made good money from this, but then there became too many of these accounts, and people stopped buying them. What I'm getting at is that there's a batch of several hundred accounts where someone logged in, ran the script that completes the Fallen Crown, and after 2 minutes, when the script had collected all the loot, logged out. This is a very serious exploit that leaves obvious traces on Valve's servers. How many accounts do you think were banned? That's right, none. I'm not really surprised, because as I mentioned earlier, in 4 years I've only lost 2 accounts. And that's even though I play outrageously. Trusted mode is disabled for me, so I'm leaving more than enough traces. I use functions in the most conspicuous way. I dodge everything possible and impossible. I've even developed my own cheating style of play and do things that no honest Dota player would do, like buying a Lotus instead of a Lincoln Sphere. It's obvious that even the most brilliant Dota player wouldn't have the reaction time to dodge every targeted skill with a Lotus Orb. But I can. If an opponent wants to jump in and use something like RP or Black Hole, I don't hesitate to hit them with a Hex right in the face. I've become so brazen that I've even removed the standard 0.15 second delay before this action. In general, you get the idea. I play as boldly as possible and fear no one. If I get banned, so be it. Why complain? I'll just buy another account and play on it. The inventory changer gives me skins anyway, so the account's value is 0. From everything mentioned above, one might get the impression that there are no bans in Dota, at least for cheats. But that's not entirely true. It's easy to get banned for cheats if the cheats are poorly made. Although I'm not even sure if cheats that poorly made still exist nowadays. Valve has a specific algorithm that can ban you after just 1 or 2 games if the gameplay looks too suspicious. Or rather, not even suspicious, but too obvious. Earlier, I mentioned hero combos or auto hex on a hero that blinks in and wants to use RP, black hole, or something else. It's clear that the person didn't press hex, a script did, and unlike a human, there's no need to move the cursor anywhere. To make it look legit in a replay, there's a humanizer that makes all script actions appear human-like. Even if you play with a camera zoom of 10,000, when the standard zoom in Dota is only 1,200, it will still look normal in the replay. But does this mean that a cheater cannot be detected when watching a replay? In theory, yes. If a cheater doesn't want to be detected, even if a billion people watch the replay, they still won't find anything. But in practice, it's very easy to identify a cheater from a replay, primarily because no one fears being banned in Dota. When I first started playing with cheats and had concerns, I tried not to look at teleports in no vision, Roshan, and other information. Then I realized that no one cares, and I became bolder. Now I calmly watch through no vision what the opponents are doing. I can even ping them, and I don't worry about anything. And 99% of cheaters do the same. There are also some scripts that simply cannot be humanized, or doing so would significantly impact their effectiveness. For example, I can mention the script for Arc Warden. There's a function that allows sending a clone to push, and it will independently use skills and items, while the main hero is being controlled manually. Now here's a tricky question. Can you humanize actions that occur simultaneously in 2 different parts? Well, theoretically, yes. You press one button on the clone, switch to the main hero for half a second, press a button for him, and then go back to the clone. In general, the camera jerks around awkwardly, making it obvious that Arc Warden is using cheats. There's also an option to have the humanizer simulate pressing skills and items through the minimap, but that's also a dead giveaway. It's blatantly obvious, as there's no reason for a real person to press skills and items through the minimap because it would be impossible to hit anything with them. Yes, the camera won't jerk, and for a player who doesn't understand, this will look more legitimate. Although, on the other hand, they might not realize that the actions are being simulated through the minimap and think that the clone is moving by itself thanks to a script, which is essentially true. What I'm getting at is that it's very easy to identify a cheater from a replay if there's a desire to do so. However, if there's no humanizer, which is the script that simulates button presses by a live person, then just the camera zoom alone would be enough for buttons to be pressed outside the screen. Well, you also can't send the Arc Warden clone to push when the screen jerks every second. That's okay. Valve considers it legitimate. But when buttons are pressed outside the player's view, that can get you banned. Why? Who knows what goes on with those Valve Corporation people? I also recently started playing Counter-Strike. There too, you can be as blatant as you want and won't get banned if you're not too bold. You can't set up an aimbot that locks onto heads across the entire screen. You'll get banned by VAC after the first shot. But if it's only half the screen, you can play calmly, shoot everyone through walls, and nothing will happen. But why does Valve act this way? It seems like cheaters could be banned, and it could be done very easily. Their inaction has led to the point where matchmaking in Dota and CS has turned into an HVH mode. One of their employees explained that they collect information on cheaters over a long period and then ban them all in one wave. This strategy is aimed not so much against the cheaters themselves, but against the software creators, to bankrupt them and make them stop releasing software. From my experience, I can say that if the owner of the software doesn't think about tomorrow and spends the entire budget on personal desires and dubious investments, this could actually work. The pink cheat is a great example of this. Right after the ban wave, there were months-long delays in employee salaries and outright scams. Now it's staying afloat by enticing its customers to buy subscriptions for several months in advance, claiming that's the only way to trust them and provide access to the second version of the cheat. But obviously, this won't last long. However, that's a completely different story. However, if the cheat owner is smart, like with Umbrella, such moves by Valve will lead to nothing. Firstly, because there is good protection against VAC. That's why Umbrella users weren't affected by the first or the second wave of bans. And secondly, even if it does happen, Umbrella won't go bankrupt because a rational businessman always considers different scenarios and takes steps to address them in advance. Therefore, I consider this approach ineffective. But even if Valve manages to bankrupt all the cheats in Dota in this way, the freed up niche will immediately be filled by new cheat developers. It would be much more effective to regularly ban cheaters. After all, it's not difficult considering they don't hide at all. In the case of Dota, it's not as effective as with Counter-Strike because you can buy an account ready for calibration for a small amount or create a new one yourself and it won't differ from the old one. And in Counter-Strike, you can't even earn a rank without Prime status. It doesn't cost very much, but if you have to create a new account and buy Prime for it every week, it won't stop everyone, but it will deter many. So it seems like a simple solution. Add a Prime subscription to Dota and ban cheaters every day. Obviously, they'll get tired of spending money on a new account each time, and all existing cheats will lose their users. But the truth is that it's likely not only the cheat creators who will lose users, but also Valve. If my cheats are taken away, I'll just stop playing the game, and most cheaters will do the same. Valve understands this and doesn't want to lose such a significant portion of their audience. After all, essentially cheaters are just like any other users. Considering that bans are rare, practically non-existent, they aren't afraid to buy battle passes, skins, pay for the Dota Plus subscription and all that. So what difference does it make to Valve who brings them money, cheaters, or honest players? The answer is obvious, none. So they put on a show of actively combating cheaters so that honest players don't turn away from them. In the 10 years of Dota's existence, there have been only 2 ban waves, in which about 50,000 people were banned, and only about 10% of that number were actually using cheats. You heard it right, 10%, because only one pink cheat got caught in the ban wave due to its very poor VAC ban protection. The other cheats have protection, so they weren't affected by the ban waves. But who are the remaining 90%? They are users of the most popular skin changer in Dota. The inventory changer is probably one of the safest scripts that exist. If there's protection against VAC, Valve will never be able to detect users who use the skin changer. But the nuance is that the developers didn't even think about implementing VAC protection or encrypting it in any way. Well, why bother if it's not a cheat? Formally, the skin changer didn't violate Valve's rules, which is confirmed by the fact that there have been only 2 ban waves. The pink cheat got caught in both the first and second waves. By the way, I lost 2 accounts during these ban waves because I was playing with the pink cheat at the time. The skin changer, however, only got hit in the second wave of bans. Why? Well, because Valve Corporation felt that people no longer wanted to spend money on skins and decided to conduct a showy wave of bans to scare everyone. And I have to admit, they succeeded. Now the skin changer has the reputation of being an application you shouldn't download if you don't want to get banned. Although the real chances of getting banned for it are no longer there, and this is proven by facts. You already understand that the pink cheat was the only one that got caught in both ban waves due to poor protection, but it also has a blue inventory changer. I'm not mentioning the real names because their owner is known for striking videos that contain any negativity about his software, so I'm avoiding problems with contesting those strikes. But those who are in the know, of course, understand which software I'm talking about. So, the blue inventory changer and the pink cheat differ only in that everything except the inventory changer and the anti-vac module is removed in the inventory changer, and it didn't get caught in the ban wave. The pink cheat with the same anti-vac module got caught both times, but the inventory changer did not. How is that possible? It's because a script as simple as an inventory changer can conceal even the worst anti-vac module, unlike actual cheating functions. So what's the end result? Valve banned 5,000 users of the pink cheat and reported to their users, suggesting that cheaters have no place here. But in reality, playing with cheats is much safer than, for example, smurfing. Both account metrics and the number of accounts have an influence. Everyone already knows not to have 30 plus consecutive wins and an excessively high KDA. As for the number of accounts, not many know the reality. No guide on cleaning your PC from the internet will help you. If you haven't been banned yet, it means you don't have that many accounts. In reality, Steam has so many hooks that only a complete reinstallation of Windows or using a high quality private spoofer can help. They are very expensive. Even a primitive spoofer costs $40 per month, not to mention the advanced ones. Some are sold based on the number of uses, and the price for one use can easily reach $30. Obviously, one use isn't enough. Ideally, you should use a spoofer every time you launch Steam and not launch it at all without a spoofer. Honestly, I don't always follow this rule myself, even though Umbrella has a built-in spoofer. Sometimes I'm just too lazy to use it, but I'll tell you how it should be done. First of all, don't log into Steam, and definitely don't check the Remember Me box. Secondly, launch Steam only through Umbrella. If the spoofer checkbox is enabled, when the cheat is launched, the real Steam closes and a patched version with complete data substitution opens. Once it opens, enter your login and password to log in, but don't check the Remember Me box. Yes, one downside is that you'll have to enter your login and password every time, but what can you do? If you log into Steam directly and not through Umbrella, you'll be giving Steam your real data, and any further manipulations with that account will be pointless. By the way, after logging in through Umbrella, you can close the Umbrella launcher and go play another game. For instance, when I play with cheats in CS, I launch Steam through Umbrella, close the Umbrella launcher, and inject the cheat into Counter-Strike. This is necessary because the CS cheat doesn't have a built-in spoofer. It's quite rare for a spoofer to come bundled with a cheat, so it's something to be thankful for in Umbrella, and of course, you should use it. Just a reminder that by registering through my link in the description, you get a 10-day trial period and a 33% discount on the first Umbrella subscription.